Any special requests?
More or less. I don't know. We can go with that, but
Okay.
more or less.
Yep.
We are live. Anything you don't want to do, just
Oh, no. So English
no,
everlasting.
no. Don't pay attention to that stuff. Just
Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, sir.
okay. What are you?
Well, I'm the sole steward on the last year of my residency, usually it's still open.
Wow.
And I was working yesterday, not to get on the job.
Wait. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome all who are here with us in person and also welcome all those who are joining us via live stream. Judy, if you would, please, we'll turn together to page 2 as Judy will lead us in the lighting of our Shabbat candles.
Light and truth, creator of the eternal law of God, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their heart. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvah tov, v'tzivanu l'havim k'ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn together to page 10 and join in Hine Matov or Mayafeh Hayom.
Okay. Mayafeh hayom.
Mayafeh Hayom.
Mayafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Mayafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. We'll continue. Ila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabela likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha hi mekor habaraka berosh miked nesucha sof maaseh b'makashivat tehila Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabela hitoreri hiva orek umi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alaik negila lecha dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat nikabela, Boiva Shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha v'utzochla, Tochemune yam segula, Boikala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nikabela.
We turn together to page 24 and with words of welcome, Shalom Aleichem, peace be on you, and Alechem Shalom on you, may there be peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidkem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And we turn together to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish, and we rise.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yoma divra kivrote v'yamlik malchutei.
V'chayei
V'chayekonu yomei kon u'chayei kol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'maru, amen. Yehishmei Rabba mevorach, v'yolam olamei almaya, yitbarak, v'yishtabak, v'yipar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei kudishah, b'reku, Leila min kol berchata v'shihirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, daniran be'alma, v'maru, amen.
And on page 28, we join in Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch
Le'olam.
Please be seated as we continue page 30 with Ma'ariv Aravim, that mystical prayer that thanks God for the miracles and the wonders of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, v'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hasmanim, umesader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakia kibsono, bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai Tsevaot Shemo. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'Ma'ariv Aravim. Page 33. Let's join together at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll continue with Ahavat Olam, top of page 32.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amka ahavata, Torah u'mitzvot hukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadita, al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbenu u'v'kumeinu, nasiach bechu kecha, v'nizmach v'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. כי הם חיינו ויורק ימינו, ובכם נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבת אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
We rise together and turn to page 34 for Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam.
Please be seated as we continue with the Ahafta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושכבך וקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם למלכים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim. Page 39. Let's join together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by
prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot o sefela, nora tehilot o sefela. Malchutecha rodnecha, Bilkeya yom lifnei Moshe v'Miriam, Ze'eli anu v'amru, Adonai yimlo, Adonai yimlo, le'olam v'ed.
V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov v'galo miyad chazak, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. And we continue with the Shamru, page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael,
et ha-Shabbat. Wasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Wasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam Oti leolam vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Asod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Wasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam U'ayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Wasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirit. It's God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We rise together for Amidah, page 46. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agiti hilatecha. Adonai, open our lips, that our mouths may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol Hagibor Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Kasadin Tovim, Vikonei hakol, Zocher haste avot v'imaot, Yumei v'gula lifnei v'neihem, Leman shemo b'yahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'margin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bizrat Sarah, Atah gibur le'olam Adonai, Mikayei hakol atah Rav Hoshia, Mashiv Yaruach, Umarid Hagashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim V'Rafeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamoka Bal Givurot, Umito Melach, Melech Mini, Umekaye, Umatzmiak Yeshua, V'ne'emana Talak HaChayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedeshim b'chol yom yaraluka selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai. El Hakadosh. Page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. Together, may all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Shabbat. Page 57. You are with us in our prayer and our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha lebadcha b'yirah na'avod. And together on the top of page 59, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. Page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamelech et Amo Yisrael Bashem. Shalom Rab on page 60. Shalom Rab Yisrael Am Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Am Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'to beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
We take a few moments for those prayers that are in our own hearts and minds.
Page 62. Say shalom bimrama. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael v'maru v'maru. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael.
Our thoughts turn to those who need our blessings of healing. And so we turn together to page 253. And we think of all those who are ill, who need that little energy, that little extra push, that little blessing that we can give, that we send to the world, those energies of healing. And in our congregation, we especially mention Pat Hanna, Doug Ford, Steve Tottleben, Merv Weinman, Diane Levy, John Rosenthal, John Gayampa, Scott Gordon, Sarah Parton, Tony Manchester and family, Janice and Bruce Whitmer's house, Frank Fusaro, Renee Goldman, Phil DeFrancesco, Jay Kaler, Debbie Perry, Amy Doherty, Dick Metcalf, Sharon Johns, Shelley Schloss, Diane Kaler, Bernice Fox, Julie Matthews, Dane Marcinowski, Maggie Lee, Noyak Lindberg, Robert Wozniak, Pam Waters, Corlin Moray, Sydney Scrementi, Andy Green, and Martha Snyder. If you're joining us via live stream, please add a name into our chat if you wish. If you're here in person, as I look around, please share a name.
Doctors Saida and Fayez Hansanuddin.
We join together in our blessing of healing.
Middle of 253. Yishevera avotenu mikol habrokah leimotein. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishevah yimote, the core bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This week is one of my favorite parshiot. In fact, it's in the top 52 of the year. Actually, this is really a wonderful section. We see Jacob trying to flee, and he finds himself alone on a mountain. Have you ever been alone trying to get away from something? Trying to get away from a problem that you have to deal with? And you just need some space. You just need a little bit of distance, a little bit of quiet. And I imagine this is where Jacob finds himself. He is on the top of this mountain. Nobody is with him. He goes to sleep and he has a dream. And the dream is of a ladder. And the ladder is going seemingly up to the sky. And the text tells us that there are angels that are going up the ladder and down the ladder. And he wakes up and he says, achen yesh. Wow. I had no idea God was here in this place. There's a couple problems in the text that the rabbis really try to puzzle through. Remember I said that the angels are going up the ladder and down the ladder? What's the problem there? Well, okay, not why they're coming down is a different problem, which we'll deal with in a minute. Good. Where did they come from? Up. So how is it they're going up the ladder and then down the ladder? Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, and I didn't know it. God is in this place, and I didn't know it because, and the rabbis talk about the idea that there are angels and God's presence, as they interpret the word angel. I mean, in Jewish life, an angel is not the diminutive cherub with little wings and a halo and a whatever. An angel can be any form and any shape. In fact, in the Torah, we have angels that take on the shape of people, of a donkey, whatever message God needs to bring, that can be the angel. And it's a sense that these angels are all around us, and yet we're not ever always so aware, right? We're not aware of these messages that are constantly with us. And then the rabbis talk about makom, place. That this place is special and unique and different because the place that he's in is the land of Israel. And it is in this place where we have this incredible, incredible history of connection. What's special about the 29th of November? You have to be a bit of a... Well, what? Oh. Okay, no. Not what I was thinking, but okay. Good one. Important. Specifically to Israel, what is the 29th of November? It's an important one. Sorry? Close. We're getting closer. It's the United Nations, the anniversary of the United Nations vote to partition what was the British mandate for Palestine into Jewish and Arab sections. And it comes actually at the culmination of a series of studies that was done first in the 30s, actually in the 20s, and then again in the 30s, and then finally there's another one in the 40s, and they decide that they are going to create this kind of patchwork system where they will have Jewish centers and Arab centers, and nobody will have a contiguous sort of large area, but you'll sort of all have to work together. You can imagine that wasn't received particularly well, especially with the Arab population. The David Ben-Gurion, as leader of the Jewish Agency, agrees, and it was the first time that there was a international recognition that we would get a land of Israel. What's important in the Jewish world about the 30th of November? Even less known. Greg, what do you think? I thought I saw you, okay. So the 30th of November has actually been designated as a day to commemorate the 850,000 Jewish refugees that were forced out of lands in the Middle East, including many Arab countries and Iran, between 1948 and the early 60s. Before 1960, there are approximately 1 million or so Jews living in the Middle East, writ large. They had been there for over 2,000 years. Most of them had been there in these centers for 2,500 years. In fact, they were there 1,000 years before the advent of Islam. It hadn't always been great, for sure. They had suffered persecutions. They had suffered the sense of being a second-class group in those societies, many of them. But yet, in amazing ways, they created incredible contributions to society, to art, to literature, fabulous, fabulous works. In fact, the most significant Jewish work, probably the Babylonian Talmud, was created in this part of the world, not in Israel. In fact, there are two Talmuds. Most of you probably aren't necessarily aware, but there are two versions of the Talmud. One is the Babylonian Talmud, one is the Jerusalem Talmud. And the Jerusalem Talmud we basically never hear about. It's incomplete. It's just a whole different sort of structure to it, and it doesn't carry the weight that the Babylonian Talmud does. But despite this influence, as soon as Israel is established, about 850 or more, we think, we're not sure, Jews were forced out of Arab lands. Places like Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, other places, and most of the other countries. And it happened because mostly the Arab League, the law of the political committee for the Arab League really drafted a statement, a law statement that basically removed all of the rights and privileges of Jews living in those areas. That they were forbidden from, their holdings were frozen, their bank accounts were frozen, their lands were taken. Most of them left businesses behind and had to immigrate and leave with almost nothing with them. But why don't we hear very much about this group of refugees? What happened to them? It's almost 1 million people, and yet we hear almost nothing about it. They found homes in different places. Most of them went to Israel. Most of them found their way to Israel. Israel quickly, not easily, but quickly welcomed them in. It wasn't a smooth process, I'll tell you that. There was lots of complications, bringing in large numbers of people, as Israel has done throughout its history. It's not pretty, usually. It has complications for sure, but most of them found their way to Israel. And what did they do when they got there? They became Israeli. And they settled, and they built lives, and they built homes. At the same time, we have a whole other refugee problem happening. We have another 800-something thousand Palestinians who are displaced, or people who lived in what we know as Israel who are displaced also in 48. And what happened to them? Well, we see the effects today because it was the surrounding areas and the surrounding countries didn't do what Israel did, and they didn't welcome them in. And they have kept them in this perpetual state of kind of limbo for the last 75 years. And when we talk about the problems of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, it's complicated, right? Because when you talk of the Palestinian was a creation of 1965. Before that, it was simply Jews who were in the British Mandate for Palestine. It's only in the 60s that it becomes a different group that distinguishes themselves from those living in Jordan or other areas adjacent. And so when we talk about settling the issues, and we talk about the strife and the complex arguments and fights between Israel and its Palestinian communities, while it's true that Israel absorbed these 850,000 refugees, it's also true that they suffered horribly. They lost everything. And so when, a few years ago, when Israel was trying to revive the peace negotiations, part of the conversation was, okay, we're going to talk about refugees, but we're going to talk about refugees writ large for this conflict. And of course, that was rejected. They said, well, those people aren't refugees, they settled in Israel. Except, of course, they really were. They had the blessing of being able to be absorbed. But that doesn't make the initial process and when you talk about state-run laws that made them refugees. I mean, if you look at Israel didn't create a law that said, if you're Arab, you need to leave. In fact, the Declaration of Independence for Israel calls on the Arab communities to stay and help build this new democracy. Now, whether or not that was genuine, whether or not they really meant it, whether or not there was a subtext of get out, for sure, possible. And we are by no means totally innocent in this. I don't mean to paint us in this sort of good guy, bad guy kind of a way. I mean, we made plenty of mistakes along the way as well. But in terms of there being laws, blatant laws passed, that clearly was not something that Israel was doing. And yet they are there for us to talk about and read as part of the historical record of many of these countries. And in fact, even to today, there are complications if you want to go and visit some of these countries as a Jew. And so, as we have this part of this anniversary, this the partition plan, which was for Israel and the Jews who had just, only a couple years before ended the Holocaust. For them, this was a monumental achievement. This meant self-determination in a way that they have not seen since the temple was destroyed 2,000 years before. And so it was heralded by the community as this miraculous and wonderful thing, and quickly adopted and accepted. And they said, we'll figure out all the stuff and the details later. Let's just accept it and move on. But sadly, we know from the last 75 years of conflict and just, the past couple of weeks, we've had several flare-ups, package bombings and those kinds of things that continue to remind us that things are far from settled. And so as we think about that anniversary, we also think about the ongoing conflict that we hope and we pray that people find their way to a sense of peace. So, Shabbat Shalom. So we are going to continue together with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol l'tekedu l'yotzer breshit Kilo samanu ki haratzot Kilo tamanu kimishvachot hadoma Shelo samchel kenu kachem Vigor aleinu kikol hamonam Vanachnu korim Umishtachavim romodim Lifnei melech malkei hamlakim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shehu notei shamayim v'yosid haaretz Umoshav yekaro b'shamayim mimahal Hushkinatu zo V'gav he meromi Hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efesulato Kakatu v'torato Vidatayam v'yashivotcha elevavecha Hi Adonai hu Elohim Bashamayim mimahal V'yal haaretz mitachat enod V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad
Please be seated. As our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. And in our congregation, we observe yahrzeit for Augusta Kahn, Bertha Baker, Bertha Stern, Clara Levy, David Gottlieb, Eli Phelps, Eugene Schwab, Gertrude Kaler, Henry Jenna, Jacob Good, Jacob Schall, Leopold Gartner, Manuel Goldfarb, Mary Cohen, Max Nyman, Sidney Sobel, Simon Berkman, Francis Porras, Raymond Porras, Fanny Shapira Ulanoff, Sarah Oppenheimer Schaffner. And if anybody would like to add a name, if they are joining us via live stream, please add the name in our chat. If you're here in person and would like to add a name or would like to speak to a name, please do so.
So Mary Cohen is my dad's mother, and so she's my grandmother. And when I was growing up, they were about 5 minutes away. We would eat dinner, they would eat dinner at our house on Friday nights and in their house on Sunday nights. And when my parents would go away, we'd often stay with my grandmother and grandfather. And my grandmother taught me how to sew and how to knit. And she just had a wonderful sense of humor. She lived to be 101. She lived until she was, I think, 98 in a second floor apartment where she hated it when I walked her to the door in the wintertime in the ice. She wanted to do it herself. And she was just an absolutely wonderful human being.
Nice. Very good. So we rise together. We turn to the words of Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach ruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayei b'chol beit Yisrael, Bagala Vizman Kariv Vimru Amen.
Yehe
Yehesh me Rabba Mevorach Ve'elam Lameh Omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei d'kusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'romav. Uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
Vimaru. Amen.
I'd like to invite Rochelle Kowinski forward to share some announcements.
Good Shabbos. And that was how I remember my grandparents. They always said good Shabbos. We say Shabbat Shalom, but the old timers, it was good Shabbos. What a wonderful night to be here together, here and with those of you who are watching us remotely. We're all together regardless of the manner in which we share this evening. And it is a wonderful evening. I want to share with you that not only did we have a Tot Shabbat before services, and the place was full of children's laughing and running around and pizza and you name it, some great smells, which is always exciting, just the vivaciousness of our youngsters. And thank you so much to the Gesher program, Kendra, and your leadership and everyone who helped to put that together. Tomorrow, we have Shabbat and morning service, both on YouTube and Zoom and in person, right? And Torah study at 11. I'm remiss in not saying that our service this week is in memory of Gertrude Kaler. Thank you. I also want to announce that we have a wonderful program this coming Thursday, December 8th. And it's really called Empty Chairs, 10 years after Sandy Hook. It's an event with Ceasefire Pennsylvania, and there will be a vigil right here at our temple. So please join us. You need to RSVP if you're going to come, but it'll be a wonderful program to remember those people who died due to violence of guns. And we need to remember, we need to work hard to put in regulations to really fight against unlawful gun ownership and so forth, and the terrible things that happened at places like Sandy Hook. So if you're interested, you can RSVP, and there's an email or a link that you can go right to and RSVP, or you can call the temple and let them know. Our Latka party is Sunday, December 18th. The cost is $20 per person, and kids under 10 are free. Wonderful food, wonderful time. If you haven't volunteered, please reach out to Edie Joseph. All the volunteers and any number of them are welcome. And it is a great time, just preparing everything, being together, and definitely eating.
And
Oh, God, how can I forget this? Oh, forgive me. We are having an auction of baked goods. So get your best recipe out there and bake your best dessert or buy it and bring it. And we're going to auction it off as a fundraiser for a temple. Right? Again,
so one more late breaking news. Next Friday night, part of our strategic plan has been to try to engage our congregation, many of whom also live in Meadville. And so we managed to work with our partners at Hillel at Allegheny College. And so next Friday night, we will be coming to you live from Allegheny College in Meadville. So we hope that you will join us there. We'll be sending out an email. And I just got a message, and this is sort of part of the charm of working with college students, but they need to know by Monday or Tuesday at the latest if we're coming for dinner. So if you are able to join us for dinner, they would love to have us for dinner, but please let me know by Monday or Tuesday at the latest. That would be great. So looking forward to that, and it'll be a great opportunity to engage with them and also our families who are in Meadville. So, okay, with that, Dennis, Yasher Koach, thank you so much.
I'll tell you, going from the extremes of humidity is
Indeed.
a struggle.
What shall we conclude with?
How about Adon Olam on 321?
321.
Adon Olam asher malav b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra v'hacharei hitlot hakol livado yimlok nohara v'hu haya v'hu hoveh Vehu yeh v'tifara vehu echad v'yein sheni v'yamshir lo v'hakbira v'li reshit v'li taklit v'lo haoz v'hamisra vehu eli v'hai goali v'tzur chevli v'yet zahara Behu nisi humanosli manakosi veyomek ravi ahavo afkid ruchi v'etishan v'yaira v'imruchi gaviati Adonali v'lo ira.
And we join together in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat korsho b'ahava uvratzon dintilanu Zikaron lemase vereshit, ki hu yom tehila lamikra kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, ki vanu vacharta, veotanu kidashta, mikol abim. Shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, in paltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Chaim. And following our service, we have our talk amongst ourselves. Bring your own Shabbat dinner. So please, if you are joining us, we'll be in the social hall right after. And even if you didn't bring dinner, please join us anyway for a little schmoozing and conversation. And we join together.
Motzi lechem naaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yasher Koach, Dennis. Thank you.